Commander Alex Winters checked his uniform one last time before the shuttle door opened. This was it, humanity's first official meeting with an alien species. The mission briefing had been clear. The Veldari had been watching Earth for decades, and now they wanted to talk. Everyone ready? Alex asked, looking at his team. Lieutenant Olivia Bennett nodded, her expression serious. As ready as we'll ever be, Commander. The universal translators are working perfectly, Sam Garcia said, tapping the small device on his collar. We should understand each other just fine. Dr. Nathan Reeves clutched his scientific equipment tightly. I still can't believe this is happening. First contact. Well, official first contact. The shuttle door hissed open, letting in a flood of bright sunlight. Alex blinked as his eyes adjusted to the glare. The neutral meeting planet had been chosen for its stable atmosphere and comfortable gravity. Comfortable for humans, at least. Remember, Alex said quietly, we represent all of Earth today. The 4 humans stepped out onto the landing pad. The planet's yellow sun blazed overhead in a cloudless sky. About 50 yards away, another shuttle sat on the rocky ground. Near it stood 5 tall, slender figures covered from head to toe in what looked like protective suits, complete with dark visors that hid their faces. Those must be the Veldari, Nathan whispered. Alex led his team forward. As they approached, he noticed the aliens seemed to be gesturing urgently to each other. Their movements became more animated the closer the humans got. Something's wrong, Olivia said under her breath. Alex raised his hand in a universal gesture of peace. I am Commander Alex Winters of the Earth Diplomatic Corps. We come in peace and friendship. The tallest alien stepped forward hesitantly. Its voice came through the translator with a slight metallic echo. I am High Envoy Zixtal of the Veldari Confederation. The alien paused, its head tilting in what seemed like confusion. Why are you not protected? Alex glanced at his team, puzzled. Protected from what, High Envoy? Zixtal pointed upward. The star. The radiation. It is dangerous. Sam looked up at the sun, then back at the heavily suited aliens. The sunlight. It's not harmful to us. A wave of excited chatter broke out among the Veldari. Even through their protective suits, their agitation was clear. Impossible, a different Veldari said, stepping forward. No intelligent species can withstand direct stellar radiation without protection. Nathan cleared his throat. Actually, humans evolved under direct sunlight. Our skin produces vitamin D when exposed to sunlight, which is essential for our health. The Veldari fell silent. Finally, Zixtal spoke again. You need the radiation to survive. Well, not exactly, Nathan explained. Too much can damage our skin, but moderate exposure is beneficial. We've evolved protection mechanisms, melanin in our skin, for instance. Extraordinary, Zixtal whispered. In all our explorations, we have never encountered a species that can simply stand in starlight. Alex realized what was happening. Your species evolved without direct sunlight. All known intelligent species did, Zixtal confirmed. Most evolved on planets with thick cloud covers, or orbiting dim stars, or in underground environments. Direct stellar radiation damages cellular structures. Olivia smiled. Not ours, apparently. You must understand, another Veldari said. What we are witnessing would be like you meeting beings who could breathe underwater or survive in vacuum. Alex hadn't expected this. What humans took for granted was apparently remarkable to these aliens. Would you like to see more? He offered. We brought data on human biology and our civilization. Zixtal's body language shifted in what might have been excitement. Yes, very much so. But first, would you permit a demonstration? One of your team could stand in direct light while we measure the effects. Nathan stepped forward eagerly. I'd be happy to. I'm curious about your readings. As Nathan stood in the brightest spot on the landing pad, the Veldari scientists cautiously approached with their instruments. Their movements suggested awe and disbelief. "Remarkable," Sixtel said quietly. "Truly remarkable." Alex smiled at his team. Their first contact was going better than anyone could have hoped, all because of something as simple as standing in the sun. The journey to Veldar Prime took 8 Earth days. Alex and his team spent the time studying everything they could about the Veldari and their culture. The ship they traveled on was dark, lit only by soft purple lights that cast long shadows on the curved walls. "It's like living in eternal twilight," Olivia said as she joined Alex in what the Veldari called the viewing chamber. It was the brightest room on the ship, but still dimmer than even the darkest human buildings. "Their eyes evolved for darkness," Alex replied. "Too much light hurts them." The viewing chamber had large windows that showed the stars outside. A small Veldari was standing by one of these windows, looking out at space. When the humans entered, the alien turned toward them. "Greetings," the Veldari said. "I am Kirith, Junior Science Officer." Alex introduced himself and Olivia. Kirith's protective suit was thinner than the ones they had seen on the meeting planet, showing more of the alien's slender form. The face shield was also clearer, revealing large dark eyes that seemed to shine with curiosity. "I hope you do not mind my questions," Kirith said, "but I am very interested in human biology." "Ask away," Olivia said with a smile. "Is it true that humans spend time outside during peak daylight hours?" "For pleasure." Olivia nodded. "We call it sunbathing. People lie on beaches or in parks to enjoy the warmth of the sun." Kirith made a sound that the translator didn't catch. It might have been surprise or disbelief. "Our children play in the sun," Alex added. "We grow plants in it. Our whole civilization developed in sunlight." "Fascinating," Kirith said. "On Veldar Prime, we only go to the surface during the dim hours. Most of our cities are underground or protected by thick covers." The ship announced they were approaching Veldar Prime. Alex and Kirith moved closer to the window. The planet below was covered in swirling clouds that looked almost black. "The cloud layer protects us from most radiation," Kirith explained. "Our star is dim compared to yours, but still dangerous to us." When they landed, the human team got their first look at a Veldari city. It was built into the side of a mountain, with most structures going deep underground. The few buildings on the surface had no windows, only thick doors that opened and closed quickly. High Envoy Zixtal met them at the landing area, now wearing a lighter protective suit since they were under the cloud cover. "Welcome to Veldar Prime," Zixtal said. "The Council is eager to meet you." The council chamber was the largest room they had seen so far. 7 Veldari sat in a half-circle, all watching the humans with obvious interest. After formal introductions, the head counselor spoke. "Your species is unique in our experience," she said. "Almost all intelligent life we know evolved with minimal exposure to stellar radiation, some under thick clouds like us, others in deep oceans or underground." Nathan stepped forward. "We've studied your biology files. It seems our DNA repair mechanisms are much more efficient than yours." "Yes," said one counselor who specialized in science. "Your cells can repair radiation damage that would kill most species. It is remarkable." "But more remarkable," said another counselor, "is that this ability makes you valuable. There are places in our galaxy no other species can easily go." Sam looked interested. "You mean star systems with brighter suns?" "Exactly," Zixtal said. "Many resource-rich planets orbit bright stars. We cannot safely visit them without extensive protection." Later that evening, as the humans were shown to their quarters, Olivia noticed Kirith waiting nearby. "I brought some cultural files you might enjoy," Kirith said shyly. "And I have more questions, if you don't mind." "I have questions too," Olivia replied. "Maybe we can learn from each other." As they talked, Alex met with Zixtal in another room. The high envoy seemed troubled. "There is something you should know," Zixtal said quietly. "Not all galactic species view your abilities as we do. Some see humans as a potential threat, precisely because you can go where they cannot. A threat? Alex asked, surprised. We've only just made contact. Word travels fast in space, Zixtal replied. And fear travels faster than friendship. The warning from Zixtal kept Alex awake that night. He woke early the next morning, or what passed for morning on Veldar Prime, where the dim light barely changed throughout the day. He found Nathan already working in their shared living space, studying Veldari medical files. You need to see this, Nathan said, pointing to his screen. The Veldari shared information about other species in their database. Almost every intelligent species they've met evolved with minimal sunlight exposure. Alex leaned closer. So we really are unusual. More than unusual, Nathan replied. We might be the only known species that can walk under a bright sun without protection, and that makes some people nervous. Their conversation was interrupted when Sam rushed into the room, looking worried. Commander, we have a problem, Sam said. Someone tried to access our communication systems last night. Veldari. Sam shook his head. I don't think so. The coding was different from Veldari tech. Before they could discuss it further, Kirith arrived to take them to a morning meeting. The young Veldari seemed excited. The Science Council wants to discuss possible joint projects. Kirith explained as they walked through the dim corridors. Your sun resistance opens many possibilities. The meeting started well. The Veldari scientists were eager to learn about human solar protection methods. But halfway through, a new Veldari joined them. He was taller than the others, with a differently styled protective suit. This is Drexler. Zixtal introduced him, an observer from the Galactic Affairs Office. Alex noticed how the other Veldari seemed to stiffen at Drexler's arrival. The meeting continued, but the open feeling was gone. When they broke for a meal, Kirith pulled Olivia aside. Be careful around Drexler, Kirith whispered. He's not what he seems. What do you mean? Olivia asked. I can't say more here. Just watch him. Later that day, Nathan was working alone in the lab the Veldari had provided. He was comparing human skin cells to Veldari samples when he heard the door open. He turned, expecting to see Olivia or Alex, but found Drexler instead. Working late, Doctor? Drexler asked, moving closer. Just finishing up, Nathan said, suddenly uneasy. Drexler examined the lab equipment. Fascinating research. Humans are quite remarkable. Your ability to withstand radiation that kills other species. Some might see that as threatening. We don't mean any threat, Nathan said. We're just built differently. Different can be dangerous, Drexler replied. He picked up a vial from Nathan's workbench. Is this a human sample? Before Nathan could answer, Drexler seemed to stumble, knocking over several containers. A greenish gas began to fill the room. How clumsy of me, Drexler said, backing toward the door. That looks toxic. You should get out. But as Nathan moved toward the exit, Drexler blocked his path. Actually, I think it's best if you stay. Accidents happen all the time in labs. Nathan backed away, looking for another exit. The gas was making his eyes burn. Suddenly, the door burst open, and Sam rushed in, wearing a breathing mask. Nathan. Here. Sam threw a second mask to him. Drexler moved with surprising speed, knocking the mask away. But Sam was quicker, tackling the tall alien. They struggled briefly before Drexler pushed Sam off and ran from the room. Sam helped Nathan into the hall and sealed the lab door. You okay? I saw him go in and got suspicious. He tried to kill me, Nathan said between coughs. When they told Alex what happened, his face grew dark with anger. We need to talk to Zixtal right away. The high envoy listened to their story with growing alarm. Drexler is not from our Galactic Affairs Office. We've been suspicious of him since he arrived. Then who is he? Alex demanded. We believe he works for the Hegemony Coalition, a group of aggressive species who view emerging civilizations as competition. If they know about humans' unique abilities, they'll see us as a threat, Olivia finished. Zixtal nodded grimly. They've already suggested that humans must be contained before you can expand further into the galaxy. Security tightened around the human visitors after the attack on Nathan. Veldari guards now followed them everywhere. Drexlor had disappeared, presumably fleeing the planet once his cover was blown. 3 days after the incident, Alex and his team were called to an emergency meeting with the Veldari High Council. The mood was tense as they entered the council chamber. "A coalition battleship has entered our system," Zixtal announced without preamble. "They are demanding we hand over the human delegation." Alex felt a chill. "On what grounds?" "They claim you are dangerous and must be evaluated by coalition experts," the head counselor said. "But we all know what that means." Sam leaned forward. "They want to study us, figure out our weaknesses. We refused their demand," Zixtal continued. "But they threaten to take action if we don't comply within 1 planetary rotation." The meeting was interrupted when a junior officer rushed in. "The orbital defense grid is malfunctioning. Half the system is down." An older Veldari that Alex hadn't met before stepped forward. "I am Admiral Voshan of the Veldari Defense Force. This is no coincidence. The grid was sabotage." "Drexlor?" Olivia asked. Voshan nodded. "Almost certainly. And without the full grid, we cannot repel a coalition attack." A tense silence fell over the room. Then Nathan spoke up. "What exactly is wrong with the grid?" "The main control satellites need manual recalibration," Voshan explained. "But they orbit in direct sunlight, with no protection. No Veldari could survive the radiation exposure long enough to fix them." Alex and Olivia exchanged glances. "We could," Alex said. The Veldari stared at them. "You would do this?" Zixtal asked. "For us?" "Of course," Alex replied. "That's what allies do." The plan came together quickly. Alex and Olivia, as the team members with the most space training, would take a Veldari shuttle to the 3 main control satellites. While the coalition ship was still holding position at the edge of the system, they needed to move fast. "The exposure will be intense," Voshan warned as they prepared for the mission. "Our sun is dimmer than yours, but the satellites orbit close, and there's no atmospheric protection." "We've trained for spacewalks," Olivia assured him. "Our suits will provide some protection, and our bodies can handle the rest." As they boarded the shuttle, Sam handed them each a small device. "I rigged these from our communication gear. They should help you locate the damaged circuits faster." The journey to the first satellite took less than an hour. As they approached, their shuttle sensors detected the coalition battleship changing course. "They're moving toward us," the Veldari pilot said, fear in his voice. "They must know what we're doing." "Just get us to the satellite," Alex said firmly. "We'll handle the rest." The pilot brought them alongside the first satellite. Through the viewport, Alex could see the damaged panels. He and Olivia put on their spacesuits and prepared for the walk. "Ready?" Alex asked. Olivia nodded. "Let's show them what humans can do." They stepped out into the airlock. When the outer door opened, they were bathed in starlight. Even through his tinted visor, Alex could feel the intensity of the radiation. It was hot, much hotter than Earth's sun, but not unbearable. The repair work was difficult. The Veldari systems were unfamiliar, and working in zero gravity always presented challenges. But after 20 minutes, they had the first satellite back online. As they moved to re-enter the shuttle, a bright flash lit up space around them. The coalition ship had fired a warning shot, the energy beam passing close to their position. "They're trying to scare us off," Olivia said. "Then they don't know humans very well," Alex replied. "Pilot, take us to the next satellite." As they approached the second control unit, something unexpected happened. The star flared, sending a massive wave of radiation toward them. The shuttle's shields barely held. "Solar flare," the pilot cried. "Very dangerous." On the comm system, they heard Admiral Voshan's voice. "Coalition vessel is retreating from the flare." Their radiation shielding isn't strong enough. Alex looked at Olivia and smiled. Their weakness is our strength. Let's finish this job while they're running. The news of what Alex and Olivia had done spread quickly through the galaxy. The Velderi communication network buzzed with reports of how the humans had repaired the defense grid while bathed in solar radiation that would kill most other species. Within days, messages arrived from a dozen worlds, all wanting to learn more about these sun-resistant beings. 1 week after the satellite repairs, the Velderi Council called a special meeting. Representatives from 5 other species were present, all wearing various forms of protective gear. Some looked almost like the Velderi, while others had completely different body shapes. This is the Alliance of Free Worlds, Sixtal explained to the humans. Species who oppose the Hegemony Coalition's control. A tall, blue-skinned being stepped forward. I am Nexer, from the Equine Worlds. We have heard of your actions. No Alliance species could have done what you did. We just did what was necessary, Alex said simply. That is precisely the point, said another alien with 4 arms and silvery skin. What is impossible for us is merely difficult for you. The meeting lasted for hours. The Alliance members explained that for centuries, the Hegemony Coalition had controlled most of the bright star systems. Since Alliance species couldn't safely visit these worlds without extremely expensive protection, the Coalition had claimed all their resources. But humans could help balance this power, Zixtal said. You could be our partners in exploring these forbidden regions. As the meeting ended, a message arrived from Earth. The human government had reviewed the situation and officially authorized Alex to begin formal alliance talks with the Velderi and their friends. This is a historic moment, Zixtal said, his voice filled with excitement even through the translator. The first steps toward a new balance of power. Later that evening, Nathan found Alex on the observation deck. A small viewing port showed the cloudy sky of Veldar Prime, with just a hint of the dim star visible through a break in the clouds. I've been working with the Velderi scientists, Nathan said. They shared something concerning with me. What is it? The Coalition is developing weapons, Nathan explained. Weapons designed specifically to target human biological weaknesses. Alex frowned. How would they know our weaknesses? We've only just made contact. They've been studying Earth from afar, just like the Velderi have. And they've captured human genetic samples somehow. Before Alex could respond, Sam joined them, accompanied by Kirith. We've intercepted Coalition communications, Sam said. They're planning something big. Kirith nodded. Their leaders are angry that humans helped us. They see you as a threat to their power. The Alliance intelligence suggests they might move against Earth directly, Sam added. Before we can form more alliances. Alex's face hardened. We need to warn Earth. And we need a plan. The next day, they met with Admiral Vosan and the Velderi military leaders. Maps of the galaxy filled the large screens in the command center. If the Coalition attacks Earth, what can we do? Alex asked. Your ships can't even enter our solar system safely because our sun is too bright. Vosan nodded. That is true. But we have been developing special shielding technology. It's not perfect, but it might allow our ships to approach Earth, staying in the outer regions of your system. Olivia, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. What if we use our sun against them? If their ships can't handle the radiation? A defensive position in the inner solar system, Sam finished her thought. Using Earth's sun as both shield and weapon. Alex looked at the galactic map, his mind racing. Earth was just one planet, new to the galactic community. But it had something no Coalition world had. People who could walk in sunlight. We need to get back to Earth, he said. Fast. And we need to bring Alliance representatives with us. I volunteer, Kirith said immediately. Zixtal, who had been listening, stepped forward. I will also come. The Velderi should be represented in this historic moment. As they prepared to leave, Alex received a message from Earth. More coalition ships had been detected moving toward the Sol system. Time was running out. The journey back to Earth was much faster than their trip to Veldar Prime. The Veldari provided their fastest ship, equipped with special shielding to protect Zixtal and Kirith from Earth's bright sun. As they approached the Sol system, they could see the coalition fleet gathering at the edge of Pluto's orbit. 5 warships, Sam said, counting the enemy vessels on the scanner. And 3 support ships. Earth's defenses aren't ready for this kind of threat, Alex said grimly. Our weapons were built to fight other humans, not alien battleships. That is why we brought these, Zixtal said, showing them a small container. Inside were tiny devices that gleamed in the ship's light, shield generators designed by the Alliance. They can be modified to work with Earth technology. When they landed, they were met by General Patricia Martinez, head of Earth's newly formed Space Defense Force. Her face was serious as she greeted the aliens. Welcome to Earth, she said to Zixtal and Kirith. I wish it were under better circumstances. Inside the command center, Olivia explained their plan, which they had named Operation Sunflare. The coalition ships can't approach too close to our sun, she said, pointing to a map of the solar system. The radiation would damage their systems and harm their crews. We position our ships here, Sam added, indicating the area between Earth and Venus, close enough to the sun that the coalition can't follow, but where we can still defend Earth. General Martinez frowned. Our ships aren't designed to operate that close to the sun either. The heat would be too intense. That's where these come in, Nathan said, showing her the shield generators from the Alliance, and where human sun resistance becomes our greatest advantage. Working day and night, Earth engineers and scientists collaborated with the Veldari to modify 8 Earth ships with the alien technology. Meanwhile, Sam worked with a team to develop a new weapon system. We can use the sun itself, he explained to Alex as they tested the prototype. This device captures and focuses solar energy, then directs it as a beam. It won't destroy their ships, but it will overload their sensors and blind their targeting systems. The coalition fleet moved closer each day. They sent messages demanding Earth's surrender, claiming they only wanted to ensure human safety in the galactic community. They're afraid of us, Alex told the United Earth Council, not because we're aggressive, but because we can go places they can't, because we can change the balance of power. 5 days after their return to Earth, the coalition forces made their move. The 8 modified Earth ships, led by Alex's vessel, moved into position between Earth and the sun. The human crews wore special cooling suits, but they could still feel the intense heat of the sun through the ship's walls. Coalition fleet approaching, Sam reported from his station. They're staying at the edge of what they consider safe distance. They're launching fighters, Olivia added. Small craft that can get closer to us. Alex gave the order. Activate the solar collectors. Prepare to engage. The battle that followed was unlike anything in human history. The coalition fighters swooped in, firing energy weapons at the Earth ships. But with each pass, they had to retreat quickly as their shields weakened under the solar radiation. The Earth ships held their ground, using Sam's new solar collectors to direct focused beams of sunlight at the enemy vessels. The bright beams overloaded the coalition ship's sensors, making it impossible for them to target accurately. It's working, Kirith said excitedly from the auxiliary control room where the Veldari observed the battle. Their ships are pulling back. But the coalition commander was not giving up easily. The largest battleship began charging its main weapon, aiming at Earth itself. They're going to fire on the planet, Sam warned, from outside our defensive perimeter. Alex looked at the tactical display. There was only one option. All ships, move to intercept, he ordered. Full power to the solar collectors. The Earth fleet moved as one, positioning themselves directly between the coalition battleship and Earth. All 8 ships activated their solar collectors at maximum power, focusing the sun's energy into a blinding wave of light and heat. The coalition battleship's systems overloaded, its weapon powered down, and it began to drift. "They're retreating," Olivia announced as the enemy fleet turned away. "All ships are withdrawing from the system." Alex allowed himself a small smile. Earth is safe. For now. 3 weeks after the battle near Earth's sun, representatives from 27 galactic species gathered on a neutral space station orbiting Jupiter. The station had special sections for each species, with different levels of light and radiation protection. Alex stood with Olivia, Sam, and Nathan as they watched ships arrive from across the galaxy. Even the Coalition had sent representatives, though they had requested a meeting area with extra shielding. "I never thought our first major galactic event would be because we can stand in sunlight," Nathan said, shaking his head in wonder. "Something so simple to us, so impossible to them." Olivia agreed. General Martinez approached their group. "It's time. The Earth President is ready to present the Stellar Accords." The main conference chamber was a marvel of engineering. One half was brightly lit for humans and the few species who could tolerate light. The other half was kept dim for the light-sensitive species. A transparent barrier separated the two sections, allowing everyone to see each other while maintaining their preferred environments. The Earth President stepped forward on the human side, while Zixtal represented the alliance of free worlds on the other side. The Coalition leader, a tall being with gray skin and no visible eyes, stood slightly apart from the others. "Today marks a new chapter in galactic history," the President began. "We propose the Stellar Accords, a framework for cooperation that respects our differences and celebrates our unique strengths." Zixtal continued. "For too long, the galaxy has been divided between bright and dark worlds, between those who could access certain resources and those who could not." The President held up a data crystal. "These accords suggest a new way forward. The Coalition will maintain their current territories, but access to new bright star systems will be shared. Humans will serve as explorers and workers in sun-drenched regions, while light-sensitive species will develop technologies for dark zone operations." The Coalition leader spoke, his voice deep and rumbling through the translator. "Why should we agree to this? The humans threaten our dominance." "Not threaten," Alex said, stepping forward when the President nodded to him. "Compliment. We don't want to take your power. We want to create new opportunities for everyone." Kireth, who had been working with Nathan for weeks, moved to the center of the dim section. "To prove our commitment to this new partnership, we have developed this." Two Veldari assistants wheeled in what looked like a special suit, but unlike the full body protection the Veldari normally wore, this one was much lighter. "Using human biological data and Veldari technology, we have created a new type of protection," Kirith explained. "It allows us to tolerate much higher levels of light than ever before." To demonstrate, Kirith put on the suit and walked through a special door into the bright human section. The gathered aliens gasped. No Veldari had ever voluntarily stepped into such bright light. "It's not perfect," Kirith said, voice slightly strained. "I can only stay for a few minutes. But it's a start." Sam stepped forward next. "And humans have learned from you as well. We've developed better protection against radiation types that do harm us. Together, we can go places neither of us could go alone." After hours of discussion, most species agreed to the accords. Even the Coalition, seeing the tide of opinion, reluctantly signed. They knew that fighting against this new alliance would be costly and ultimately futile. The next day, as the diplomatic teams worked out the details, Alex found himself standing with Zixtal in a special observation room. Through the reinforced window, they could see Jupiter's swirling clouds and the sun, much smaller at this distance but still bright. "Your people have changed everything," Zixtal said, "with one simple ability that you take for granted." Alex smiled. "And your people have shown us that what we considered normal is actually extraordinary. That's the point of meeting new civilizations, isn't it? To see ourselves through new eyes." On the other side of the station, Olivia was helping Kireth adjust the settings on the new protective suit. They stood before another window, this one looking back toward Earth. "Someday," Kirith said, I hope to stand on your world and feel your sun on my face, even if just for a moment. And someday, Olivia replied, humans will help build cities on worlds too bright for your people to visit before. That's the promise of the Accords. As ships departed the station in the following days, carrying news of the agreement to worlds across the galaxy, the story spread of the humans who could walk in starlight, and how that simple ability had changed the balance of power among the stars.